In this world, everyone awakens powers based on how much debt they owe. If someone owes 100 grand, they become bulletproof and can rip steel apart with their bare hands. If someone owes 1 million, they can control their power at will, turn their fingers into blades and kill evil spirits. Some people even owe hundreds of billions and can transform into invincible superhumans that not even nukes can kill. And me? Even though I was worth 3 billion, I never awakened any powers. Instead, I became a walking power-up for evil creatures. Whoever devoured me could gain a huge amount of cultivation and level up fast. Luckily, my best bro Liu Changlong owed me 70 million, which turned him into a superhuman who could blow up a tank with one punch. I thought that with my best bro protecting me, I had nothing to fear. But instead, he delivered me straight to a giant mutated spider. Once the spider devoured me, he planned to kill it, claim the demon orb reward, and use it to boost his strength fast. When I opened my eyes again, I had been reborn 3 days before the apocalypse. In 3 days, giant mutant beasts would swarm the world and crush humans like ants. I swore to myself right then that I had to take my fate into my own hands. And the fastest way to rack up massive debt was through my uncle. He was the president of the shoe group. Over the years, he got greedy, expanded like crazy, and poured money into industries he knew nothing about, leaving the shoe group buried under 2 trillion in debt. The moment I realized that, I went straight to my uncle Xu Daying's office. "Uncle, I have a request." Xu Daying's face tightened and he said helplessly, "The company has less than 50 million in liquid cash left, and we still haven't paid the staff their February salaries." Hearing that, I quickly explained that I wasn't here to ask for money. Only then did Xu Daying relax a little and gesture for me to sit on the couch. The shoe group was a family business founded by my grandfather. Before he died, he split the company in two. My eldest uncle, Xu Daying, and my father each got 50% of the shares. When I was 8, the plane my parents were on crashed. I was only in 1st grade, and overnight I became an orphan, and the richest orphan in the world. Under Xu Daying's management, the shoe group kept rising. In 10 years, it became the largest private company in Longguo, with a market value over 1 trillion. Even though my original 50% stake had been diluted down to 10%, a fortune of 100 billion was still enough to make me the youngest billionaire in the world. I was never much of a student, so I skipped college and went straight to living off the family money. I asked my uncle for 3 billion in startup money and launched a film company, a game company, and a live stream platform. After 5 years, I had turned those 3 billion into 30 billion. Meanwhile, because of my uncle's reckless expansion and awful investments, the shoe group went downhill fast and got crushed by massive debt. In just 5 years, Xu Daying went from the richest man in Longguo to the king of debt. Even with debt that insane, Xu Daying could have evolved fast after the global mutation and become an invincible superhuman. But instead, he jumped off a building and killed himself right before it all began. I didn't want the uncle who had raised me all these years to repeat that tragedy, so I smiled and said, "I'm here to help you, uncle. My company still has 2.5 billion in liquid funds. In 3 days, I'll transfer 2 billion to you." Xu Daying's eyes immediately turned red. By then, he'd already borrowed from every bank and every friend he had. Now, even borrowing 10 grand was a struggle. He'd even thought about dying. If he couldn't get the money to pay employee salaries by that afternoon, he was planning to jump. With trembling fingers, Xu Daying lit a cigarette. "You're a good kid. I'll transfer 10% of the shares to you later." The second he said it, Xu Daying let out a bitter laugh. But at this point, nobody wants Xu Group shares. "Uncle, I haven't told you my request yet." I cut off Xu Daying, sighing. "I don't care about the shares. I want you to transfer the Xu Group's debt to me." Xu Daying was stunned. The shoe group was a family business, and under Longguo law, the legal representative couldn't be changed to an outsider with no blood relation. That was why Xu Daying had no choice but to keep wearing the crown of the world's biggest debtor. Afraid he hadn't heard me clearly, I repeated myself, "I want you to make me the one carrying the company's debt." Only then did Xu Daying snap out of his shock and take a long drag from his cigarette. "That's 2 trillion in debt. If it lands on your shoulders, you may never recover for the rest of your life. I can't do that to you. This is my sincere request. I'm young and I don't have connections, but you do. Once that debt is off your head, and with the 2 billion I'm giving you, maybe the shoe group can still be saved." I stepped forward and grabbed Xu Daying's hand. My sincere eyes looked as innocent as a newborn baby's. Xu Daying thought about it for a moment. "Let your uncle think about it a little more. Go home, think it over, and come back tomorrow. Uncle, 2 trillion in debt racks up over 10 million in interest every single day. There's no time to waste." I gripped my uncle's hand and said it with force. Xu Daying burst into tears. "Good boy. Then we'll do it your way. Let's go handle the debt transfer right now." 2 days later, the Xu Group's debt had quietly been transferred to me. In one move, I became the biggest debtor on Earth, carrying 2.1 trillion in debt. But instead of panicking, I was thrilled. After finishing the paperwork and heading back to my office, I suddenly remembered that I still hadn't dealt with the so-called best bro who betrayed me in my past life. So I pulled out my phone and called Liu Changlong. "Bro Long, come by my place in a bit. I've got a surprise for you." Half an hour later, Liu Changlong showed up at my office with his assistant, Deng Miao Miao. I put on my most harmless smile and walked up to give him a huge hug. "Feels like it's been almost 2 months since we last met, bro. Tonight, we've got to grab a drink." I personally set a cup of coffee in front of Liu Changlong and got straight to the point. "I just took over as head of the Zhu Group, so I'm swamped. Drinking can wait. The reason I asked you here is because I need your help with something. I'd love to help, but money's really tight right now." Liu Changlong hurriedly put down the coffee he had just picked up and looked at me with a guarded expression. "I borrow money on my own skill and I never pay it back." I laughed and said, "Relax, bro. I'm not here to collect. I'm planning to transfer the entire 2.5 billion in my company account into your name." I looked dead serious as I explained. "The Zhu Group is 2 trillion in debt now, and I'm the legal rep. My accounts will probably be frozen by the court soon, so I need to move the money into the name of someone I can trust. And you, bro, are the person I trust most in this world." Liu Changlong lit up instantly. If the money was under his name, that was basically the same as giving it to him. He immediately signaled to Deng Miao Miao behind him. "Get Ush in a few more bank cards later. Don't put all the eggs in one basket." "Yes, young Master Long." Deng Miao Miao stood there straight as a rod and agreed with a bright smile. Then I added, "And I'm not going to let you help me for nothing. I'm going to pay off every debt you owe." As shameless as Liu Changlong was, even he was moved enough that his hands started trembling. That's not even all I owe you. I still owe another 1.5 billion out there. I turned around, walked behind my rosewood desk, pulled 3 IOUs out of the safe totaling 70 million, and tore them up right in front of him before tossing the pieces into the trash. Between brothers, that kind of thing means nothing. Just send me the account numbers for your other creditors. Liu Changlong jumped up on the spot, completely fired up, and got ready to go back to his office to fetch them. From now on, you're not just Brother Jian. No, you're my actual big brother. When I saw Deng Miao Miao about to leave with Liu Changlong, I smiled and said, I'm calling the bank right now so we can handle the transfers overnight. Let Secretary Deng stay here and help me sort out the paperwork. Liu Changlong agreed without hesitation, put on his sunglasses, and headed out. Miao Miao, help my brother out. Whatever he tells you to do, do it. The second Liu Changlong left, 2 hours later, at around 7 p.m., 4 bank employees showed up in person with their equipment to handle everything on site. First, I paid off every last one of Liu Changlong's debts, a total of 1.53 billion. Ha ha ha! Starting today, I, Liu Changlong, don't owe a single cent anymore! We worked non-stop until 9 p.m., and all the money under my name had been transferred into Liu Changlong's accounts. After that, I politely turned down his dinner invitation. Then, still smiling, I personally walked Liu Changlong and Deng Miao Miao downstairs and saw them out. Bro Long, the Weather Bureau says something strange might happen after midnight. You really shouldn't go wandering around. If anything happens, call me anytime. I personally opened the car door and sent him off. This guy was basically a deluxe level-up package. If some evil beast swallowed him first, that'd be a huge loss for me. But Liu Changlong thought I was joking. He had already checked the balance on his phone at least 8 times. To him, that account balance was the miracle. I waved him off with a deep, meaningful smile. Good luck. After seeing Liu Changlong off, I went to the company cafeteria, had an all-you-can-eat meal, then headed back to my office to wait for the apocalypse. Soon, the giant bell on the sightseeing tower let out a long, echoing chime. The moon overhead slowly turned light blue, casting a cold glow over the earth like something straight out of a horror movie. I stood by the floor-to-ceiling window in my office and looked up at the blue moon. As long as you don't blink and keep staring at it for 30 straight seconds, the blue moon activates your personal status panel. Name, Shuqian debt, 2.16 trillion, rank, gray. And I still remember the data from before I was reborn. Name, Shuqian debt, 0, rank, purple. The biggest difference between the two was simple. Before my rebirth, my debt was 0. But now I had a staggering 2.16 trillion in debt, exactly the amount hanging over my head. Because I was buried under 2 trillion in debt and completely underwater, my rank had dropped from purple all the way down to the lowest tier, gray. Rank is judged based on a person's wealth and gets carved into your genes after the mutation. Once it's set, more wealth won't change it.